right, welcome to the Golf Podcast Live with your hosts, Raphael and Michael, on episode 104. Join us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, XIG, or Facebook. And today, Mike, you're in Vancouver, I'm in Toronto. We're talking all things President's Cup. Very exciting week. I hope you like my backdrop. It's an excellent trophy, one of the best, in my opinion, of all trophies in golf, in sport for that matter. It kind of reminds me of a Stanley Cup, but in gold. It doesn't have the big stand on it, but it's pretty massive and beautiful.
It's not bad. Put a lot of cereal in that cup, or champagne,
or something else. Yeah.
or
Well,
beer.
beer. Yeah, we're in Montreal, Quebec, at the Royal Montreal Golf Club. Obviously, a big French crowd, and Mike and I always joke about the old baseball and hockey games where people are walking up and down the stairs screaming out what they're offering in two languages. So Mike said,
Hot dog, chien chaud.
beer, BI. Yeah. Or my favorite one is popcorn mais soufflé.
I remember being at the Forum as a kid, hearing that, and obviously wanting a hot dog. They do make great hot dogs in Quebec, if I must say so myself. Good old steamy, can't go wrong. A little mustard and cabbage in a steam bun.
Yeah,
Raph, they don't have that type of hot dog bun out here in the West Coast.
Is that right?
I forget what it's called, but it's a certain style, and so it is a treat whenever I can have one of those.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I'm just double checking, Mike. Are we on X right now? I know we're on a couple of other channels. This will give me the opportunity, as we kind of try to fix that up a little bit. Today we talk President's Cup. Again, it's at Royal Montreal. It's the blue course. This is sort of my stomping ground, originally from Montreal. Mike as well. And this is also the free episode. What do I mean by that? Well, we got Shape and Swelter, Rob Snyder, Cap Sweat System. We're working on doing the giveaways for that liner, as well as Paradox Golf. This is the big announcement. We are doing giveaway today, so make sure you follow Paradox Golf at paradox.golf on IG, only on IG. So go there, follow them, and we're going to pick a winner. We're going to pick a winner to win the all-in-one cart bag. It's an amazing product. Also, special thanks to the ECS agency for all your web builds and needs. And what's free there? Well, you could get a free web audit. So that's free. Go to their website, ecsagency.com. Raphael Golf, which is me in the GTA. Free? What do you get for free? Free practice range balls on every lesson. Plus, I got a special going on. So just go, you hit a lot of balls. I'll give you 100 balls. Castillo Roofing in the U.S. In Florida, if you're getting a free golf estimate for your roof, guys, hold on, because we've got a lot of stuff going on today. Mike, you remember 2007 going to the President's Cup. So many amazing moments that we experienced. One of the things that stick out in my mind is Aquaman. I just reposted that we're going on at 6 p.m. today. What do you remember that day?
I was standing right there. I was on the adjacent hole, but I saw the commotion. I didn't see him fall in the water, but I saw him getting out of the water. It was great. No, that was a vintage President's Cup moment from Woody Austin, one of the golf's greatest characters.
Right.
Mostly known for wrapping a putter around his head. I don't know if you recall that. He bent the shaft of his putter while smashing himself in the head with it. Very animated and hot-tempered golfer and a great character. You don't see a lot of that anymore, but that was an epic moment, the President's Cup.
Whether you're in Canada, in the US, and you have the opportunity to go into an event like this, it is very much like a Ryder Cup. Mostly the same format with singles, best ball, alternate shot. It's actually just incredible. Well, we just talked about Woody Austin. That was the 15th hole. with the pond on the left where the green is. He went down to hit his shot, fell into the water, and it was sort of, that pond is a bit of a runoff. So when his face went completely in, he said that was one of the grossest moments of his life, because that's kind of a swampish runoff pond. And obviously the signature holes will be, like always, 16, 17, and 18. 16 is famously a hole where it doglegs left. You go over a bridge, elevated green, brings you into this number 17, where Mike Weir had that momentous putt to prolong the match on the singles in 2007. The crowds are just incredible. And then on 18, that par 4 with the pond on the left-hand side, you could kind of clear it and have a nice little flip wedge in, or hit it out to the right. Remembering this is a Dick Wilson style course, Mike, the fairways are super ridiculously narrow on most of the holes. There are some wide holes, but 25 to 30 yards wide on many of those holes. Your thoughts on some of these things?
Well, I remember walking that event in the bridge on 16. I recall it was a practice round, the first time I walked the course, and we were following Tiger Woods and Steve Williams, who was caddying at the time. And that was the first time I got that close to Tiger, to the point where I think I was annoying him, to be honest. And by chance, I wore similar colors as the American team that day, just by total fluke. I was wearing my nicest golf attire, and I was mistaken for the team. People are handing me things to sign as I was walking in between holes through the road.
Well, yeah, the Montreal fans were so enthusiastic. They were dying for big league golf, right? But we're used to, it's a big hockey city. They're used to that big sport feeling. The Montreal used to have the Expos. They have the Alouettes as well as a football team on the CFL side. MLS is huge in Montreal. Always a big sports town. And so we're walking through these trenches, these small rows, when there's only one thing separating us from thousands of fans. We're talking about 10 rows deep, is a little thin yellow rope on either side. So people have got their hands stuck out, and you're actually, without doing anything, everybody's slapping you on the shoulder, giving you pats on your back. So it was a great experience. I don't expect anything less this year. So if you do get a chance, head out there. Headlines this week for the President's Cup, obviously the swag. We've got some videos queued up for you to take a look at a few things. The traffic is going to be a nightmare. It is a small island off of the island of Montreal, which is, it's only one way in and out. It's 2 lanes on each side.
Yeah.
They just talked about the Solheim Cup and how it was a nightmare for fans. Wait until you get to the President's Cup. That's the only thing. There's buses being shuttled in, and you've got to park well in advance. We're going to talk odds and picks, possibly power rankings, things to know about Royal Montreal Golf Club and the Fan Village. But Mike, your thoughts on any of those things?
Well, for one, you're right. It's a very small island. I remember we had to take a bus from Fairview Mall. The shuttle bus dropped us off over there. It's a half-hour ride. On the final day, we all pooled in to take a limousine, which was quite the experience, because one of my buddies did his best to look like Tiger Woods that day. And as we're driving through downtown Montreal, he had the window down, he had a black Nike hat on, and people were actually pointing, thinking he was Tiger Woods.
That's funny.
So that's pretty hilarious. A little more convenient to arrive that way, but it is tough to get to. But one thing about the crowds in Quebec is they're very outspoken, much like a New York crowd would be at a Bethpage Black event or whatnot. So they're going to give it to the Americans a little bit, and even the international team, if they're not happy with what they do, they won't be shy to make it vocal. I do remember after the practice round, like I said, that was the first time I was able to get really that close, arm's length of Tiger. We walked off at 18, and the police surrounded Tiger to escort him from the green to the locker room, and the crowd was wild. They were all, "Hey, Tiger, Tiger!" Everyone's
You know, a
trying
lot of
to
people call him TJ.
get
TJ.
yeah,
I remember Kelly Tillman was kind of having a joke about that in the
yeah.
parking lot when she was talking to Tiger about TJ, TJ. They're yelling out. So that was a lot of fun.
It was
Um,
interesting to see, like, to be that close to Tiger, and you could feel the buzz around him, and you also get a sense of what he deals with on a daily basis. Everyone basically, throwing courtesy and politeness to the side and just demanding a piece of his attention any way they could. So it really it was interesting to see that. Just what a day of in Tiger's life is. These guys, they're so famous, especially Tiger. You can't go anywhere without being mauled by people who want an autograph or attention.
Montreal does a very good job on marketing. So there is something to be said about the French culture and how they promote things. Anything from Cirque du Soleil to Celine Dion. I mean, there's something about the entertainment value in Montreal, and I grew up it being my hometown and the food being so good in the city, and the entertainment value of going out and enjoying yourselves on the town, whether it's the Jazz Festival, the Just for Laughs Festival, or nightclubs, restaurants. Fantastic. Um,
It
Mike, you
is.
got anything queued up for us?
Yeah, I do. Let's. We're gonna pop over to the President's Cup Instagram page. And let me add the screen share feature here, and we're going to take a look at some of the latest videos that have come out because it's pretty cool. A lot of good promo. There's a great clip of Weir arriving in town here. Arriving at this hotel.
Yeah. Hey, Mike, are you able to get the volume down on that a little bit?
I can, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So I mean, people are pretty pumped to see him arrive. Canada,
Absolutely.
right? We've got 3 Canadians. Mike Weir coaching. It's pretty amazing. It's like we have Team Canada playing Team USA this year. It's really exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's just go over this. This is happening again in Montreal. If you're just tuning in, special thanks to Lagmaster Sports. This is an all episode where we're thanking our sponsors and they're giving away free stuff. What are all our sponsors giving away? Lagmaster Sports, Mike Dickson, golf training aids for amateurs and pros alike. He's doing something very special. He's giving out a weekly tip guide on his newsletter. So make sure you go to his website, lagmastersports.com, and sign up to all his free tips. Remember, he's a top 100 PGA professional. He's got lots of great training aids. And let's go through this President's Cup. It's in Montreal. It's obviously September 24th to 29th. It's going to be playing at the blue course. Remember, there's 3 golf courses there. There's the red course, the blue course, and the black course. It's a 9-hole course. And these are men's golf matches between a team representing the United States and the international team representing the rest of the world, minus Europe. So that's what makes it really unique compared to the Ryder Cup. So Europe usually competes against the United States in a similar but considerably older event, which is the Ryder Cup. And the President's Cup has been held since 1994. That's a really cool fun fact, going back to there. And the format is match play, foursomes, and 4-ball. So either they're going to be a doubles style match or a singles match, and each team has an opportunity to get 1 point for their match or a half point awarded for each match. So that's the format. It's fairly simple if you just watch. There's a total of 30 points, and a team needs to get 15 and a half points to win the cup.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So unfortunately, the international team hasn't been doing well at all. over the course of all these matches, especially in the
No.
singles. But Mike, your thoughts on the format and all of what it just talked.
Well, we've lost the match play event on the PGA Tour, so we get the Ryder Cup and the President's Cup for our highest level of match play. Uh, that's what we have. So this year, the President's Cup, the U.S. plays in this type of event every year. So they it makes you wonder if they get tired of it. But the international team, which is everyone outside of Europe, as you just said, it's their chance to gang up on the Americans. And there's a hell of a lot of good players on this team. So I'm just going to pop up the comparison of the two teams right here, and we can have a look. Like this great picture of the stare down of these two guys.
Love
Uh,
it, love it.
you know,
Mike, why don't you give some standout names here that really grab your attention?
Hideki Matsuyama looks. I'm going to start with the internationals. Like on paper, it's a very arguable the international team looks better, right? If you got Scotty Scheffler, the world number one on the U.S. side, obviously we know how strong his game is, but if you look at the rest of the team, arguably there's better. Like Minwoo Lee, I mentioned before. He's a real dark horse, but he is such a good golfer. Siwoo Kim, the Canadians, Corey Connors, Mackenzie Hughes, Taylor Pendrith, Christian Buzedenhout. These are some solid golfers, and Jason Day is healthy, experienced, and hungry. He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to lay back and underperform. So there's a lot of hungry golfers, and don't forget we also have Adam Scott, another Steely veteran. So I think the Americans might have a challenge on the hand this week. So, even if you give Scheffler all of his wins, um, the rest of the team still needs to perform. They do have some great players. Max Homa, Russell Henley, Brian Harmon, Tony Finau, Sam Burns, Keegan Bradley. Sahith, Sahith Thagala, Patrick Cantley,
Yeah,
Wyndham Clark, Morikawa, and Schauffele, and of course Scotty Scheffler. We'll see how the pairings come together, but I think it's going to be close this year. I have a feeling there's a lot of there's going to be a lot of passion in the audience in Quebec, and
yes,
I have a feeling it's going to be close. The international team's going to be able to feed off of that, and I'm hoping to have the international team win. I'm in.
of course. Of course. So we're obviously biased because we're Canadian, even though our audience is mostly American. But we'll tell you, one of the people that you mentioned is um, Min Woo Lee. And even though his official world golf ranking, which I don't like anyways, is 40th, he's basically a rookie and he was ranked 24th to get on the team. I think it's going to be really interesting to see him because he's a fairly good driver of the
Yeah,
ball. His putter has always been lacking, and I really hope he gets a feel for these greens and does really well. And remember, he's called the chef, so he could cook up anything.
mm-hmm.
Uh, and my pick on the American side is Brian Harmon, and I'll tell you why. He, he really likes to scrap it out and dig things out of the dirt, meaning his short game is absolutely ridiculous. We saw what he did at the Open in weather conditions that may get cold and windy in Montreal this time of year. We don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And he was the secret weapon in Rome when they were playing the Ryder Cup. So I feel like he's going to be the secret weapon on the U.S. side because his putter in match play is unbelievable. You know,
Yeah. He's proven he's got the ability to rise to an occasion. I think he might benefit from the underdog status because people may not expect him to be the one to carry the team, but that bodes well for him. I feel that the pressure isn't squarely sitting on his shoulders like Scheffler's or Schauffele's shoulders. So
yeah,
Harmon can go out there and let his game speak, because he's got a powerful game. Pound for pound, he's a long hitter. He's a tiny little guy. He could be a jockey, if
Yeah.
he were to switch careers. He's a small guy, but his ball striking is incredible. So yeah, and that's what Royal Montreal is going to require: accuracy and fantastic approach. Like, you don't have room to spray it off the tee, but if you do, you need to have tremendous accuracy to get the ball onto the green, into a scoring position. And being match play, they're going to have a bit more of a go for it mentality versus stroke play and trying to be cautious. And they need to play their opponent and fight. Yeah, it's not a marathon like a stroke play event is. It's a knockout match. You need to go out there and earn your point, and if you don't, you're going to get drummed.
I've just got a message. Todd Lewis is going to be joining us shortly from the Golf Channel. Mike, if you're able to send off the invite, that would be great. And I'm just going to talk about another player while you're doing that. Max Homa is absolutely incredible. And I'll tell you, he's got a bit of a record. He's not that young anymore. Most people always think about Max because he came to his own a little bit later. He's 33 years old, but his appearance record is 4-0-0 in 2 Ryder Cup President Cup appearances, right? He is 7-1-1. So if we're going to be looking at stats and we're going to be doing odds and picks, unfortunately, I am going wherever Max is playing. I'm going to tilt that way, and I'm going to suggest that to our audience to think about his record, because he loves to play in a team format. It's kind of tough to trust the 6th captain's pick after he missed the cup in Napa 2 weeks ago. But of course, Homa is comfortable with who he is. I like him as a person. I like him as a player. We're going to see him in a Sunday singles match, 100%. And I love that. Mike, I don't know if you're going to have a chance to find the email and send out the invite.
That's what I'm trying to do here. If you got his
all right,
email,
great.
That would be great.
Yep, I've got it somewhere. So as we're going through this, I want to just be able to say thank you once again. Paradox Golf has a great contest going on, and guys, if you're listening, please stay tuned, because we are going to have Todd Lewis on very shortly. The contest is, please follow paradox.golf on IG. If you do, you have a chance to win not a $100 bag, not a $300 bag. This is a $600 cart bag that has wheels on it. It's an amazing product. We're going to talk about it. We're going to showcase it a little bit today at some point. But I just think it's just so incredible to be able to partner up with Jeff from ParadoxGolf.com, and make sure you follow them and be able to give away something to our listeners. We've been doing this for 2 years, guys. Make sure you follow us on YouTube, on X, on Facebook, and on IG, of course, because we always post some funny videos. Mike and I spend a lot of time trying to do something that's a little bit different, a little bit funny, and that's what we're trying to do every time. Big shout out to Officer Christopher Jackson, who just sent us a message, and we really hope we could get everything going today just the way we want to, with our power rankings, things to know about Royal Montreal, talk about the fan village at the President's Cup. Guys, if you're going to go to one of these events, you've got to go check out the fan village. There's lots to do for the family, and not only is there food and drinks, but the swag tent at these events is next to incredible. So you're going to have, thousands of square feet dedicated to merchandise and stuff that you never even thought of. You'll have President's Cup on things that you never even thought that could be written on these products. And so that's really cool. Mike, did you get a chance to find
Yes,
our
I
friends?
sent it to Todd, but Officer Christopher Jackson, you're awesome. I think everyone needs to hear what he has to say to you.
Oh no, let's not do that. Let's not do that. I'm just reading. Let's not do that. So, listen, if you're in Florida, check out Castillo Roofing. If you need web design help, Evolve Creative Solutions is always doing a great job. Get a audit. And then when I'm talking about Paradox Golf, they've got a free newsletter as well. So check out paradoxgolf.com. And Lagmaster, those training aids have not only helped me as an instructor, but I believe it's helped Mike a little bit too. He's managed to use that, and the golf training aid Lagmaster provides. There's not just one, but the training aid, the Lagmaster training aid, is incredible.
The rock
So it
shot
gets
was really cool for transition. I really liked it. So it's a hard game. We need tools to help us.
That's right, guys. Before Todd Lewis comes on, President's Cup, Royal Montreal, 2024, established in 1994, match play event. It is so exciting. Make sure you watch it. Even if you don't know much about golf, but if you do know a little bit about golf, you'll know that this is a wild event with the top players in the world playing at this event. Mike and I experienced it in 2007 and talked about it earlier. You could head back. But a lot of these guys, it'll be their first time. Ben Hun An, an amazing player. But I want to talk about our boys, our Canadian boys. Captain Mike Weir put together a great Canadian team with Taylor Pendrith, with Mackenzie Hughes, and of course we've got a whole bunch of other international players that are just incredible. The Americans, I'm worried about guys like Keegan Bradley, Mike. I'm kind of worried about Sam Burns. But when all else fails in singles, I want to see Corey Connors go against Scheffler. I really want to see. Corey is one of the most consistent guys on tour. He's 32 years old. He doesn't have the greatest record. He has one appearance, so he does have that experience. But outside Adam Scott, no player has more pressure on the team than he does, because Adam Scott has a lot to prove. This will be his last President's Cup, most likely. But he is by far the best Canadian player and can play all 5 matches. Again, it's the putter, man. His putter has been shaky. If you get his putter, he is really unbeatable. He is a Scotty Scheffler kind of player. He could get it up and down, as you say, from a garbage can.
Yeah, no, it's. Really, our Canadians, they all tend to be a little streaky. Obviously fantastic games, and this is me talking from the armchair. But they're all fantastic golfers, but they all run a little streaky, like any golfer does for that matter. But I'm okay with Corey Connors going up against Scheffler. I would take any of our Canadians going up against Scheffler, because again, I see it as whoever plays Scotty is going to be the underdog, and there's not as much pressure on the underdog, so great things can happen being in that position. So I like to golf from that position and just be quietly go about your business, and you realize, well, holy shit, I'm getting beat.
Yeah.
Because it could happen.
Well, looking at a player like Wyndham Clark as well, it is no joke. Official World Golf Ranking 6th. He's 30 years old. He's the highest ranked rookie, so it's a pretty cool thing to know. And I think he's going to come better prepared than the Ryder Cup in Rome. He admitted in a press conference he wasn't really ready or sharp for that event, which is sad to hear, right? He's one of the top 5 players on tour with a great percentage on all his stats. And speaking of putters, he's one of the best putters on the American side. You got a team full of great American ball strikers, right? But
Mm-hmm.
the flagstick finishers, they're few and far in between. I would count on Clark, putting out really well at this
Sure.
event.
I'd say that's fair to say. And Clark's a great player. Recently picked up a major in the last couple seasons. Um, I think he's not one of the top players for the American side, but he obviously he's got earned his way onto the team. So he's a solid golfer. Um, Again, these, in my opinion, there's a lot of players who are not at this event because they have attended and joined the Live Tour.
Hmm.
Um, so it takes there's a lot of clutch players, the DeChambeaus, Dustin Johnson, who pretty much would be staples on a team like this. So it gives opportunity for the Sam Burns and the Homas, for these guys to level up and show what they have. But the event, I think, is missing out on some key players who have gone over to, yeah, and as well on the international side. There's a few guys that could be there. Cam Smith
Yes,
not being there. It's all a factor. So both teams
yes,
are missing some star power,
yep.
but we're still going to see some high level golf. But I think the event would be just a little bit more exciting if these handful of players were eligible to compete.
Yeah, that's interesting for you to say. I just texted you an email address. Don't say it out loud. I'm going to talk about Adam Scott. Adam Scott is by far sort of the ambassador for the team. A lot of the players are going to be looking to him. Remember, it's hard to believe that he's 44 and 10 appearances. With with everything is absolutely insane. His record is 18, 25, and 6. So that's just crazy. Scott finished the season with 5 straight top 18 results. Very nice. But at 44, I'm not seeing fatigue as a factor. Like, I don't know about you, but this guy is, always fit, always, doing well. Um,
Yeah,
but he's got that tenacity and experience, and he's got that that golf spirit, and leads the way for Captain Mike Weir and makes his job a lot easier.
he does. He's got a veteran like Adam Scott, who is one of those players that you would never be surprised to see him in contention at a golf tournament. Right, he's a bit older. The field is a lot deeper in golf than it was 10 years ago. So it's not uncommon to see him there, and it's not unexpected. And he's probably going to deliver. I think he delivers a winning total to the international team this year. He's not going to win every match, but he could. But I would think he's going to provide more points than he loses to the international team.
Yeah, and I'm really excited. Hold on, everyone. We've got Todd Lewis from the Golf Channel coming on shortly. Mike, I sent you over the email.
I found it
What
already.
it?
So
All
he's
right, amazing. Another guy that I'm not a fan of in team play, and he's not a fan favorite really. Patrick Cantlay, but we can't discard him either. At 32 years old, ninth in the world. Uh, I think his success depends on his pairings.
sure. Uh,
And if he doesn't get paired with the right guy, people rub him the wrong way, or at least he looks that way. We don't know him personally. Our views and opinions are always from the outside in, and but you know, Cantlay and Shoffley can easily play all 5 matches together and carry themselves, I think.
yeah,
Um,
Cantlay's an underrated player, right? I mean, he's got the nickname Patty Ice for a reason.
yep,
We've seen him excel in some, very big tournaments, FedEx Cup. He's a very solid player. But
yep.
why don't people like him? Right? Like, is he a jerk or something off the course? Like, why is it that people don't gel with him?
Yeah.
Like some of the other players do. I've been a fan of his. I think his game speaks for it. But you see, he takes a bit of a ribbon online. He's yeah, he's a bit slow on the course too. So I think when you get slow players, it's easy for the crowd to turn on you.
Yeah, it was
Um,
the weird hat thing that happened out in Rome as well, and all that.
yeah,
But that regardless, that that didn't seem too great with him. But
yeah, it's
obviously,
possible.
there's somebody who's got a lot of fire, and what I mean is passion,
Hmm.
and not a bad putter is Tom Kim.
Oh yeah,
And with this guy, I'm pretty excited. Again, not the best official world golf ranking, 23rd, but he's young. He's 22 years old. Um, you know, he's
he
had
is.
plenty of time to rest. He didn't have a good end to the season, but he's somebody to look out for. But if I'm just going to skip ahead and talk about a guy who's almost the opposite, he's very quiet, very reserved, and lets his clubs do the talking, is Hideki Matsuyama.
Hmm.
The more I think about the international team, the more I'm leaning towards the international team. Hideki has had 5 appearances, so lots of experience once again. He's in great shape. Let's not forget he's the 2021 Masters champion,
Hmm.
and he's had, I believe, 2 wins and many top 15, top 20 finishes in 2024. Um, and he's by far the highest ranked international player on the team.
And
So he's injury free. He's older. He's not that much older. He's 32. He's
yeah,
accomplished a lot.
it seems like he's older 'cause he's been around for a long time,
Yep.
and again, he's one of those players that you're never surprised to see him in contention or win an event and a large scale event such as the Masters. So I think he's a huge factor, right? Like on paper right now, like I've said earlier, the internationals look like they're a stronger team, and everyone's hungry to beat the U.S. team, no matter what it is. If it's soccer, any sport, every team's hungry to beat the Americans. So this team is coming with a lot of experience, into Montreal. 3 of the teams and the captain are on their home turf.
Yep.
So they're going to pass the electrifying energy on to the rest of the team. It's going to feel like a home game for all of them. So it's going to be fantastic.
If you're just joining us, you're watching the Golf Podcast Live with Raph and Mike. We're talking all things President's Cup. Big thanks to ParadoxGolf.com, LagmasterSports.com, ECSAgency.com, and of course, CastillaRoofing.us. Look, guys, I am excited about all these players, and doing these breakdowns are interesting because only are we analyzing the play, but their character and how they gel as a team. Now, I'm looking at someone like Colin Morikawa. Again, 27 years old. They're really top heavy on the rankings, and they're all ball strikers. But at 27, fourth in the world, his record is 2-1-0. Matches are won through his accuracy because he's one of the best iron players in the world. And here's a putter. Here's a guy who could have a hot putter.
Hmm.
But he's always had the accuracy. And the short game is unbelievable. And I think those 2 keys, the accuracy and the short game, has given him so many top 25s in the past 15 starts, is really incredible. I'm sure Captain Furyk, who's full of experience, is using analytics to the maximum to see who pairs best and what the pairings are going to be.
Hmm.
But I would roll him out as one of the top 3 players for sure. I
Yeah.
would give him Finau in foursomes and Clark in fourball.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. It makes you wonder. if they're using AI to help them break down the statistics nowadays, since
Absolutely.
it's so easy to use. They can analyze these stats in seconds and run virtual models in terms of match play. That would be. Would love to ask Mike Weir this after the President's Cup. I'm sure he doesn't want to come on this week, but let's see if we can get that guy on here and talk about how he won the 2024 President's Cup.
Just to mention, Todd Lewis will be coming on very shortly. He said he doesn't get his invite yet. Check the email that I sent you, Mike, and he's waiting for the email. While you do that, I am going to talk about one guy who has had one of the most tremendous seasons golf has ever seen since early Tiger Woods stuff. And I know we've always talked, like John Rahm started having a hot season when he was playing the PGA Tour, and they compared him to Tiger Woods. But I think the only player with this season, with a season like 2024, is Scottie Scheffler. Look, Scottie Scheffler, by all means, most people would think he's in his mid-30s. He's only 28. What's his official world golf ranking? Number 1. Let's not forget. And it's not a shock to be able to put him as the top power ranking for a couple of reasons. He's comfortable to play in any format with any player because he's so easygoing. Mm-hmm. And his putter has been hot since he's changed his putter over. So he's got a really hot putter. And I don't know, what are we supposed to say about Scottie Scheffler? You know, he's always going to be there. He's always pushing. Nothing phases him. Doesn't matter how big the crowds are. And I think that's one big advantage for him. A lot of his partners are going to feel tremendous pressure, but I think he's going to be the calming effect with anybody he's going to be paired up with. And you could fall back on him no matter what.
He's got the consistency. He's going to deliver. So if he's paired up in the 4-ball matches, he's going to bring calm to whoever he's paired with. So which bodes well. So if Scottie cools off for a couple of holes, that other partner will be able to step in and shine. I think anybody who gets paired with Scottie, he's not a egotistical, difficult personality to deal with, right? Like as we've seen, say with Tiger or Phil back in the day, like, you know, especially with Tiger, a lot of players are intimidated to play against him. So they're going to be even more intimidated to play with him because now they've got to they have an expectation that they need to perform alongside of him. Where Scottie is just a really down to earth, calm personality.
Yep.
He's really that's not going to transcend into his partner. I think comfort and tranquility is going to stay, and they're both seasoned. Tim Scott, his caddy, is extremely seasoned professional. So and as well, this generation of American golfers, they're more akin to European golfers. Like they eat together, they travel together. Some of them vacation together. Like they're buddies. In Tiger and Phil's era, it was every man for themselves.
Right? Yeah, it was different. It was different. You're absolutely right. Such a much more individual sport back in the day where this is where the Americans excel in the individual Sunday, where they just blew everybody out of the water because they were in their element. But you put them in the other elements, in 4-ball, in the best ball format, or alternate shot. It's very different. I just sent off Todd Lewis a message that you resent the email to him. I told him to check his junk folder. You know how these things happen, guys. Sometimes technology does not help. It's very difficult to overcome things. We're going through all the player rosters. We're talking Royal Montreal Golf Club, the President's Cup for 2024. We talked about the format. Go back and see the episode from the beginning because we talked a little bit about the history of the game, the golf course, the players, what happened in 2007, obviously the formatting, And our big contest with Paradox Golf, we're giving away a $600 US priced golf bag. That's also a pull cart. It's an amazing product. We'll be able to pull up a video possibly to show you shortly. But we are talking President's Cup. And if you have any comments, whether it's on X, on Facebook, or on IG, it'll pop up on our feed. We'll be able to talk about that very briefly.
Okay, and Todd in here.
Okay.
There he is.
Hey guys.
How are you, Todd?
Good, thanks. How are you?
Fantastic. Where are you?
Well,
I am in a hotel in Montreal. I'm spending the day at Royal Montreal today.
Fantastic.
Well, welcome to the show. It's my hometown. I used to be assistant professional at Royal Montreal Golf Club. I know the course very well. We covered the event in 2007. It was epic. We just went through the history of the game. We talked about the golf course, the players. Just very quickly, did you get a chance to go to the course yet?
Yeah, I was out there today. I watched the U.S. team. They played the back nine today for an organized practice session. I apologize. The lobby's a little loud here in our hotel.
It's okay.
And then I caught up with a couple of international players who today wasn't an organized practice day. It was kind of like the players were on their own. But I did talk to Corey Connors. I talked to, who of course is from Canada, and I talked to Penrith, who's from Canada as well. And they expressed the dream coming true of the fact that they are Canadians and very super proud to be representing the Shield and more or less Canada and playing in the President's Cup. So that was a good day.
Amazing. We're trying to figure out which Canadian is going to get paired to play against Scotty Scheffler. Corey Connors is our best option.
Yeah, I will. I'll say that. I will say that if there is a Canadian player that may have a chip on his shoulder, it's Mackenzie Hughes. Because I feel as if, well, first off, I think he's a great match play player. I think it was actually a really good pick by Mike Weir to get Mackenzie because I think he's a wonderful short game player. I think he's a good putter. And he's not a terrible fairway finder, which of course you have to do at Royal Montreal. But I think more importantly, the fact that he got left off the international team at Quail Hollow. Of course, he lives in Charlotte. He's proud to be from Canada, but he calls Charlotte home. And it really, really has bothered him for 2 years. And so I think he's got a lot to prove, and and I think he's going to do it this week. I think he could be a sneaky, really big star for the international team here at Royal Montreal.
Well, I hope, Todd, that you're going to enjoy some of the food and entertainment in Montreal. It's very well known for its great cuisine and its entertainment. I know you got a full schedule and you're really busy. Any thoughts about the golf course itself? Have you had a chance to look at it? There's some great deciding holes. Number 16, obviously, is a dogleg left with the pond and the bridge going on an elevated green. Smaller greens, tighter fairways. 17th hole, an epic par 3, where Mike Weir kind of tied things up with Woods back in 2007 and that par 4 on number 18. Anything stands out to you at this golf course?
It's funny you mentioned today. To be honest with you, I've never been to Royal Montreal. I've covered the Canadian Open several times, but never at Royal Montreal. And I got out there early this morning and checked out the golf course. What a wonderful, beautiful piece of property. It has great character. But I want to pinpoint a couple of holes that you talked about. I think the 16th hole, beautiful hole. Little dog leg left with water on the left.
Yeah.
That elevated uphill green. I think that is going to be a very important hole, in my opinion, considering where it is on the scorecard and the layout of that hole. That's going to be a really fun hole this week, and I think it's going to be an impactful hole for both sides. And that 17th hole, it's not very long. It's kind of short. It's a good, fun, great match play hole. That 2, like 16, I think is going to be a really important, decisive hole. But in regards to the overall topography of the golf course, it's lush, it's green, the rough is challenging. If you hit it there is absolutely a possibility of a penalty, but I do think it is manageable. So I think that's great for match play, and it's going to be a fun week.
Mike, last two questions. One for you, one for me, so we could let Todd go, and maybe he could grab a bite to eat. It is supper time after all.
Yeah, and by the way, I'm going to the Keg tonight, which is a Canadian staple.
Oh, right. Good steak. Great steak.
Can't go wrong. Can't go wrong. Go ahead, Raph.
Well, I think one of the factors that people don't realize that very much like the Ryder Cup, the Canadian fans are very vocal and loud. We were talking about how they're very much like New York fans, and you're going to have that sense. On the 17th hole, it erupts incredibly. The green basically shook when Mike made that putt against Tiger Woods. The grandstands they have around there going on 17 and on the backside of the green is going to be incredible. So look out for the 13th player in the bag, which is a hockey, golf-loving Canadian crowd.
Yeah. I'm sorry to interrupt, but there's no doubt about it. I talked to Corey about that today. I've talked to Mike about it a little bit. I've talked to Ernie Els about it. It's interesting when you are, as actually you saw it last year for the United States team in Rome. I was there. If you have your B, maybe your C game.
Yeah.
If you're a home team, then maybe that home crowd could lift you up to B, from a B to an A, from a C to a B. If you have your B or C game and you're the away opponent, then it could actually not only keep you stagnant as a B or C game player, but also drop you to a C or a D player. So there's no doubt about it. I mean, you have no teammates when you're out there. You're on your own. This is one of the most unique things that makes golf so beautiful, is the fact that if you're not sharp that day, and you have other intangibles, which includes the people that are respectfully rooting against you, then it could really affect you. And so I think the Canadian crowd is going to be a 13th man. I think it could be a beautiful intangible for the international team. And I think this is going to be a very competitive President's Cup.
Yeah, I agree. I feel it's going to be a close one this year. These teams stack up very well together, so we're looking forward to it. So my last question for you, Todd, is: have you been to Schwartz's Deli yet? And if not, when are you going this week?
I haven't. I'm going to have to do some research into that. But
best smoke meat in town.
I totally dropped the ball, or in this case, the puck tonight. I've become a little bit of a. I shouldn't say a little bit. I've become over the last 5 to 7 years a big NHL fan of my favorite team, which does not reside in Canada. They actually reside in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Oh yeah.
But they're a good team. But I do love the sport, and I love NHL. And one of the things I've wanted to do was go to an NHL game in Canada, which I have not had the privilege and the honor of doing so. And tonight, the Montreal Canadiens are playing the Philadelphia Flyers in their first preseason game.
That'll be fun.
And I went back and forth. It's a preseason game, and I said, I'm going to come to a regular season game instead of a preseason game. But now the puck's about to drop in a few minutes, and I'm having regrets. But I do love Canada. I do love the fans. I do love the sport. I love their passion for golf, and I'm looking forward to a great week.
No, you're going to enjoy it. Montreal's a great city, and get over to Schwartz's Deli for that sandwich. You will not regret it.
All right, you have a great week.
Look into that. George's Deli?
Schwartz's.
I'm sorry.
Schwartz's
Deli. Okay.
You won't regret it. That's my first stop in Montreal every time. It's right over there to get my fix. So you're going to love it.
Got it locked in.
Yeah.
Well, have yourself a great week. Thanks for joining us, Todd, at the last minute. And I want you to have a great week. Say hello to everyone for us, and we'll talk soon.
Absolutely.
Thank you. It's going to be a great week. Appreciate you having me on.
Take care.
That was Todd Lewis from the Golf Channel. Fantastic analysis by him, talking about his experience of going there and seeing the pre-matches and getting a feel for the golf course and the city. And this has been brought to you by Paradox Golf with Jeff Hanning for your all-in-one pull cart bag. Follow him on IG, and you could win that bag. Mike's going to try to queue up that video of this bag and cart, but also this whole episode is also sponsored by a couple of guys. We just got to say thank you, guys. Hold on before we get to our next topic. Shape and Swelter. Rob Snyder has an amazing product for a cap sweat system. So you know how the lining of your cap always gets dirty and wet, or you got to throw out your golf caps. It happens to all of us. He has an inner liner system that makes it more comfortable, and it's washable, renewable. Also, thanks to Castilla Roofing in Florida, ECS Agency for getting your website built and get all your marketing done. Oh, you've got it going on, Mike. That's the Paradox bag right there.
Yeah, this is a real short clip that we actually put together for Paradox, and it shows the bag from start to end. Here you go. Wheel store on the side. You release the handle. It pops out. It's quite lightweight.
Yes.
Is a cart and a bag. So he's sending us one up to demo, which I can't wait to try it.
Right.
It'll fit on a power cart, or you can just walk as you should. And just unfold it and carry on. So with the bag and the cart together, it weighs much than what you think it would. So we're looking forward to seeing it in person, and we're looking forward to giving one away to one of you.
Great. As we wrap things up here, Mike, I want to wish our Canadians all the best. I want to wish the international team all the best. Make sure you watch everything on television if you're not going to the event. If you have the opportunity and have the means to get out there, then please do so. I don't think all the days are sold out as of yet, and it'll be the most amazing golf experience next to a Ryder Cup that you can experience.
Absolutely.
And with all these players, once again, you know, if you want to see Siwoo Kim, if you're a fan of even Christian Bezuidenhout, who's an amazing player, we didn't get a chance to talk about Russell Henley and Taylor Pendrith, Mackenzie Hughes, and I'm just going to touch on Mackenzie. It's amazing that Todd Lewis from the Golf Channel had him as a pick. The 33-year-old, you know, I was thinking more Corey Connors, but he's calling him the Bulldog, so maybe pairing him against the American Bulldog would be a good idea. Captain Weir has a bunch of birdie machines, and I think Hughes is one of them. He's sort of the guy who's a great putter as well, underestimated. He's only ranked 115th tee to green, but for our power rankings, for our bets, I'm gonna start leaning towards Mackenzie Hughes. I think I'm gonna trust Todd Lewis, who knows he's a great insider and a great journalist who knows a lot more than we do. So I'm going to say Mackenzie Hughes is going to be my new pick. I'm going to put him on my
politician. Here we go. You know.
so outside of, so there's Pendrith and now there's Hughes, and I think they're going to be paired.
It could be.
Because that's going to be a fuel of a team.
It could be.
And the Canadian crowd is really going to get behind them.
Yeah. They're going to be pumped because last time in 2007 when the President Cup was at Royal Montreal, just Mike Weir was the only Canadian, if I've got that correct. So
that's right.
The crowd's going to be pumped. A quarter of the team is Canadian plus the coach. So it's I can't wait. Quick shout out to those of us on Instagram who've joined us. There's quite a few of you. Len Matisse included, PGA Tour veteran and Champions Tour stalwart. Thank you, Len. Always good to see you. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do. We really need some love on YouTube. Hit us up on Instagram and X as well, and Facebook. We're on most of the major podcast platforms, so any subscription or follow, whatever it might be, goes a long way to help us. We'd really appreciate it.
Absolutely. I'm just going to finish off with Russell Henley and maybe a couple other players since we've got some good traction today. We're talking about the President's Cup. Mike, if you could queue up a video maybe for one of these IG posts that have gone viral. There's so many great ones to choose from, so let me know when that comes up. But Russell Henley, is 35. He's got lots of experience. Let's not forget, he's 14th on the official world golf ranking. And I think he's like one of the more interesting players on the American side. I could see Henley going 5-0. Or they'll barely use him. He's a rookie, right? You probably won't get more than 2 to 3 chances to really prove himself, in my opinion. He's ranked 25th on tour, tee to green, pretty great. I think he's a star in the making still. People don't know the name.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't be surprised if Jim Furyk paired him with his Georgia teammate. You know who that is? Harmon.
Yeah.
So
that would be a great pairing.
So you'll get 2 Georgia Bulldogs together.
Anything is possible. Like with the rookies, if you let them sit in the bench and not play, then they're rusty, but the singles come out. So is a better strategy to at least to get them out for at least one of the matches in the first day in the afternoons. Just get them out there, throw a battle, let them get the nerves dealt with, and get a feel for the event and their team. I would probably lean to doing that instead of just keeping them cold and on the bench until 6. But you never know. If you get a couple teams, you don't want to break them up. You want to keep them in the match. So it's going to be great to see how this all unfolds. Again, this is such a fantastic event, match play at its finest. Highly recommend tuning in as much as you can this weekend.
Yeah, and there's a couple of guys we haven't even talked about, because Si-Woo Kim is pretty incredible as a player. Let's not forget him. He's 29 years old. I know he's only 50th on the world golf ranking, but he's a lead international team scorer in Charlotte. I don't know if you remember his record. It was 3-1-0. But his individual win over Justin Thomas on Sunday was pretty passionate in President's Cup single matches, and it was great to see. We'll see who he gets paired with. I find that he's going to be a factor. It's a little bit unknown on my side on how he's going to perform. What do you think?
Si-Woo Kim has always been a threatening player. You remember a couple of years ago, Dustin Johnson was having a little fun with Si-Woo Kim, and there's a clip that went viral of him, and it's been quite a while, 17 years that he's playing in the background, recapping the 2007 event, and it's going to be a great event. All these players are great. I know we can pick who we think is going to be leading the charge, but at the end of the day, it could be Max Homa who surprised us and goes 5-0.
Yeah.
It could be Sam Burns. These the players that are unexpected, but they're the ones, again, the underdogs. They come in there and they can light up this field. So
I believe that, Mike. Whoever is going to be able to deal with the pressure of a team event, because you're not just playing for yourself. You've got all your teammates relying on you, and you could feel that pressure. And for those who are going to be able to handle that pressure the best, because we all know they're amazing ball strikers. These are the best players in the world, after all. And when you look at all these players, you have to go after experience, the guys who have handled this in the past. And if I'm going to look at the international team with its immense experience in someone like Jason Day, who's 36. He's had 4 appearances. He doesn't have the greatest record, but his climb back to stardom right now this year. I think he's endured too many losing President's Cups, and he's going to be on fire.
Yeah.
And he's got Adam Scott. That's going to be a great pairing. I'm sure they're going to be paired together. The fellow Australian, Adam Scott. I think that's going to be a hardcore team to beat. It's going to be wild. There's just too many good players.
Also remember, Jay Day is healthy. He struggled with back injuries, vertigo problems.
Yes.
I remember following him around at the U.S. Open at Chambers Bay out here on the West Coast, and he had to sit down. He was dizzy,
Yeah.
and he's having trouble walking around the golf course, and just like
Yeah.
which is the basic ability you need to be able to walk the golf course, and he was struggling to do that. So he's had a ton of injuries. He's playing well. He wears big baggy clothes. He's probably really comfortable out there. Took a little bit of heat, and was it the Masters? It made him change his clothing this year.
Yeah.
Did you recall that? Because the branding was a bit
Yeah.
loud.
Yeah.
Fit the
Yeah.
guidelines.
Right. Right.
So yeah, I would love to see Jay Day have a stellar week. He deserves it.
Yeah, and for those of you who just started following golf or don't know this, he's a former #1 player in the world. So he knows how to get it done. And if he dials in, everybody's in trouble, including Tony Finau, because I'm not sure how he's going to play. I
Yeah,
know they went 2-0 in foursomes at the last President's Cup, which was pretty cool. However, um, I'm never sure about Finau. He's got a great game. He's ranked 21st in the world. On the low side for the American star-studded team. But I'm always concerned about his putter.
yeah.
Right now, as I look at it, he's ranked 139th on tour. And if you don't have your putter in a team format or even in singles, you're not going to have a good event.
And match play, it's all about putting. You can be a little off on the tee, but you can make it up with your approach and your short game and the flat stick. So this is not the tournament to show up with a cold putter.
Yeah.
But Tony Finau is one of those players that you expect to have had more success out of him in terms
Yep.
of the amount of wins. Obviously, financially, he's done extremely well, and any of us would trade our golfing career for his in an instant. But he himself must admit that he would like to have majors. He'd like to have more tour wins, and we'd expect to see that out of him, and we haven't.
Mm.
So he could come out being hot as barbecue coal and tear up the golf course, or he could have a bulky putter and get drummed. So it's really we won't know until we see the battle begin.
One of the funny things that Faraday said, and you've mentioned in the past, I love this saying that the rough is going to be up pretty high around Montreal. They have that Poa annua grass and bent grass all over the place, and you wouldn't be able to find your ball if it was wrapped in bacon and you got your dog to go try to find your ball. There are times, I remember in the 2007 President's Cup, the guys cannot find their ball.
Mm-hmm.
They can't, with the amount of fans and everything, with the television coverage and so many people seeing the ball land, you can't find your ball.
Right.
The U.S. team is going to be surprised, not pleasantly, about this rough that the Royal
Yeah.
Montreal Golf Course is
And
going to be
Todd
providing.
just alluded to the rough, saying that it's manageable. But remember, today's Monday.
Yeah.
They're not going to cut that grass for the rest of the week. So by Saturday and Sunday, that grass is going to be a half inch to an inch taller than it is now. So it's going to become a factor.
Yes, it will be. Mike, I'm going to bring up somebody that we didn't mention yet, but we might have mentioned him very briefly. But he's the American with the experience. He's also going to be the future Ryder Cup captain. He's sort of the ambassador for the team where all the other younger players are going to be looking up to him at 38 years old and being 13th on the official world golf ranking. We're going to call him Captain Bradley, has quickly become a figurehead in American golf, period.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
He's feisty. He's full of energy and power at his age. We've seen him in the Netflix special on how much he wanted to make that Ryder Cup team.
Yep. And he's captain of the Ryder Cup team, which is
at Bethpage. This is going to be a good training ground for him.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, he's gonna. This is great training for him. Obviously, he wouldn't be playing if he wasn't worthy of playing, because he with someone, I feel this is absolute training ground. I'm confident in his ability to perform. He's one of those gritty players, and I think match play he'll be able to find that gear. Stroke play can come down to a few bad swings over a tournament where you make a handful of bogeys and you're out or if you make a double or triple or a few of those, you're out of the tournament. But stroke play versus match play are two different beasts. So you'll be able to get into a match and grind it out, and you're only playing the opponent. So it's a much different ball game than it is playing the field. So I'm eager to see what he does, and I really like him as the Ryder Cup captain. I think um, it's a ballsy pick, but I think it's a good pick for next year because look what happened to Zach Johnson and his choices he made. He's never ever going to live down the criticism for the team he put out in Europe last year. So this is
he should have been on the team. Well, that's a whole different episode in itself, but he should have been on the team. And if I were Captain Furyk, I'd play him 4, even 5 times.
Yeah.
It's obvious he wants the ball. He wants to prove everybody wrong. I'd keep giving it to him. Unless he didn't want to, right? He's gonna be vocal about how he feels about his game that week. That's a factor as well. So some guys are not going to be feeling it.
Right.
But they
he's been a grinder his whole life. Remember Jim McLean when he was on with us months back said Keegan Bradley rolled up. Didn't he drive all night down to Florida and rolled up in his old Toyota Corolla or whatever and clothes in the trunk and right he's not spoon fed. He's not some rich kid who just grew up at the country club. He's out there playing professional golf because he wanted it so bad. He's grinding to get it. And he's doing that for the Ryder Cup. He's pissed off. He got left off the last team. He's got an axe to grind. So he's going to come out trying to prove that this coming weekend in Montreal.
Yeah. We're talking about the Americans mostly right now because, we covered quite a few of the international players. Sam Burns at 28 and 18th on the official world golf ranking. I would say, he's a 4-ball. He could be a 4-ball specialist. And he might be a really good pairing with Scotty Scheffler.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he could.
Yeah, you could watch Burns make 6 to even 7 subpar scores anytime. With Scheffler. And if he gets paired with Scheffler, like I think he will be paired because of their camaraderie and how they know each other and where they're from, I think it's going to be a very important pairing.
Yeah.
Because you got to use your team appropriately. These pairings are probably the most stressful things for Furyk and Weir, right? Being able, because you could make a bad mistake and remember when they put Woods and Mickelson together?
Yeah, Hal Sutton, never going to live down the criticism of that.
But he put them together again. Let's not go there. But that was, I remember.
Only because he wanted to. He said after, he's like, I wanted to do that as soon as he was named captain, and he did. You guys who hate each other at the time.
Yeah, you can't always make the best of choices. But again, my guy is going to be Corey Connors, right? He's going to be carrying the Canadians crowd's expectations. He's going to be, if he gets his putter going, obviously he's a ball striker. He can get it up and down from anywhere. Yeah. And, with a classic course like Royal Montreal Golf Club, I think he has an edge on a lot of players. And the guy flying under the radar is Sahith Theegala.
Sure. Yeah, I love Sahith's game. I think he is a little bit under the radar, but he's been trending over the last few years. His game is so tight. I wouldn't be surprised if he breaks through and has a great performance this week.
Well, because he's a rookie and because he didn't win this year, these are where the doubts creep up. But he finished 3rd in the FedEx Cup standings.
Yeah.
And because of his ball striking, it's improved tremendously.
It's happened many times that players get sparked up from these types of events, like Chris DeMarco did many years ago. Had a great President's Cup performance and went on to have some success on tour. So you could see that here. A bit of a quiet year, but this is a different type of event. So it doesn't matter what happened this year. He's on the team, and it's ready to go. It's all about you and the player you're paired against.
Mike, maybe you could queue up one more video from the President's Cup. Once again, follow us on YouTube at thegolfpodcast.live, on X at Golf Podcast Live, IG at the Golf Podcast.live, and on Patreon, we got so much merch. If you guys just want to support us, you could always do that at Golf Podcast Live on Patreon. Special thanks to Paradox Golf, Lagmaster Sports, ECS Agency, Raphael Golf, and of course Castilla Roofing. I can't believe it's episode 104. We're on YT, YouTube, Spotify, Apple, X, IG, and Facebook. This has been a President's Cup pre-game show. Special thanks to Todd Lewis for coming on. If you missed him, go back and watch what he talked about. Pretty fascinating perspective on Montreal, the course, and some of the players. Mike, Shape and Swelter, Rob Snyder, special thanks to him as well. Any last words?
Once again, just please give us a subscribe, a follow, whatever it may be on the appropriate channel. It really helps us drive some engagement and build our audience. And we thank you to all the ones that have subscribed and paid attention to us. And we had people on X, Facebook, and Instagram today, and YouTube, all dialing in and while looking at the stats here on our dashboard here. We really appreciate that. Some great comments from Officer Christopher Jackson out there.
Thanks for everyone's support. Make sure the follow is the biggest thing. And one of the free things that we're doing is the contest. If you go to Paradox Golf, paradox.golf on IG and follow them, you got a great chance to win. Great chance to win. Follow Lagmaster, ECS, as well as all of our other sponsors. Guys, thanks for joining us today. This was episode 104. For Michael, I'm Raphael, and you've been listening.